Hey, welcome back to the Tool Shed. In this tool called Start Where You Stand, going back in time to when I heard this, which was from a wonderful man named Earl Nightingale. If you haven't heard Earl, he has just the most beautiful voice, but more importantly, he was a beautiful soul who I would argue he's probably one of, if not the father of the self help movement back in the 50s and 60s. Anyways, he used to tell a story about Gordon Conwell, who was the founder, I believe, of Temple University, and Reverend Conwell built Temple University, raising money based on the story called Acres of Diamonds. I'm going to do a very short version of Acres of Diamonds. You've probably heard variations of it in many different traditions, but it's about an African farmer who sold his farm to go find. He heard stories about beautiful diamond mines all across Africa, of course. And he wanted to be, discover those diamonds to be the guy who found it. So he sells everything and he leaves his wife behind, and she ends up leaving him, not wanting to wait. And, he goes through hell and back, and ultimately he dies broke, he dies dejected, he dies alone. And lo and behold, you know how this story turns out. They found on the farm that he had sold the largest diamond in Africa. Now, I don't know if it's true. It sounds, mythical, but it's true regardless of whether it happened because I see it play out every day. I've seen it in my own life, and I've seen it in the lives of the people who I guide, men in particular, who end up walking away from their acres of diamonds to go find acres of diamonds. I watched it firsthand in my father's life. My father was a good man who was constantly chasing diamonds, not in the form of financial success. In fact, he threw away financial success in search of some elusive diamond. It was spiritual. It was just this glimmering thing of hope and meaning and purpose that he believed was out there on the horizon. And he set sail to find his diamonds when in fact he inherited a diamond mine, or he earned a diamond mine. He had it in his wife, and I'd like to think his kids, and his business, and his community. Threw all those things away, and in the end, he threw his life away. He killed himself. And that's an extreme example, but all day, every day, I coach people, men in particular, who their natural reaction or inclination as a human being and as a man is happiness is out there. Go find it. Go pursue it. But as Dr. Viktor Frankl says, happiness cannot be pursued. I mean, you can. It's just never going to be caught. Happiness ensues, says Frankl. It happens when you stop paying attention to it, when you stop seeking diamonds and you start where you stand. I tell guys all the time, do not get divorced if that's what you're contemplating right now. Do not, chase a new woman or a new job or a new shiny object. I'm not a moralist. I am not saying there's anything immoral with any of those things. I mean, maybe chasing the woman if you're still married. So get divorced and then go find the right Mrs. Her. However, don't do that as a starting point. That's acres of diamonds. There's a time and a place to move forward, to move on from your profession, but start where you stand. One of the things I deal with guys all the time is, they hear me talk about meaning and purpose, and they want to find it in their business life. So their initial reaction is, I can't find it here. Maybe that's true, but maybe it's not. First, we must mine our own acres for diamonds. All things equal, don't go out into the unknown, especially at midlife, having not first exhausted the land upon which you stand. Make sure that you have truly been all in your marriage before you make up your mind that it doesn't offer you any diamonds. So often I work with guys who they start to mine their own lives for mental, emotional, spiritual diamonds, and lo and behold, they start to see the diamonds in their spouse. And they realize that really it wasn't their partner. I mean, it always takes two to tango, but it was as much on them as it was on the person across from them. Yes, there is a time and there's a place to go hunting diamonds out in the world. However, particularly if you're midlife or onwards, the starting point is never out there. It's right here in the world around us, and most importantly, in the world inside of us. Because In the second half of life, you have the luxury, the opportunity of realizing that it doesn't matter how many diamonds you have, how big the diamond is. In the end, it's never an external diamond. It has to be an internal diamond that we set our sights upon, that we seek. Random idea, but has relevance here. It was once pointed out to me that our life is about acquiring bigger and bigger diamonds and then smaller and smaller diamonds. Let's take a living. You go from a house, or from a dorm to an apartment to a condo to a house to a bigger house to a biggest house to a smaller house to a condo to assisted living to a nursing home to the grave. And if you attach yourself to those external diamonds, they're never going to be the answer. Doesn't mean you don't pursue them, doesn't mean you don't need them. However, in the end of the day, we're here to mine those diamonds on the inside, and that is always something that starts where you stand. Can't say it strongly enough, can't say it often enough. Before you go out into the world hunting diamonds, first do a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual inventory. Mine your acres of diamonds and start where you stand.